Hello once again. Welcome back to another awesomely creative, haphazard recording with your host, Lance Reynard. This is a self-portrait. Thanks for joining. Let's continue forth. Honey, don't you know that I love you? Just a quick note in the beginning of this one to mention that if you have sent me an email and I have not responded recently, it is because my emails are being sent, the YouTube emails are being sent into the spam folder. I apologize if you've sent an email and I haven't responded. I will be weeding through these and fixing it. All right, wanted to mention that. Welcome back to another haphazard recording with your ultra-meddling and subtle host and mellow fellow. By the shores of Gitchigumi, by the shining deep-sea water, sat the wrinkled old Nokomis, nursing little Hiawatha. That was Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And if you ever think of changing your name to Wadsworth Longfellow, see a psychiatrist. My mother had sent me this email from downstairs. And, however, I have asked her to write down her life story, bit by bit, detail by detail, pursue, carry forth, carry on. And the questions risen that are raised by this essay, I will leave open-ended for you to ask in your curious ways and natures. As this is the way all truthers are, they must know the truth. It cannot be hidden. You cannot glaze over these details. Let's just take the first line, for instance. June 13th, 1928, I was born. Now, as a common human being, I would just glaze over that and continue forth. However, my curiosity is, was that a Friday? I was born in the house of a farmer midwife. Now, I'm curious, is it a farmer's midwife, or did the woman farm? Was she a midwife who farmed? Where my mother had borne the earlier brothers and sisters. And there would eventually be 10 of us. And that's in dealing with the children, 12 with the parents in the family, and somewhere at around 900 today with all of the relatives. At any rate, that's actually way over 900. My grandfather stayed with us with his nurse and died when I was 4, having requested the name of the grandfather that is still aloof. I vaguely remember a casket in the front room, which we called a big room, labeled living room now. It must have been Grandpa's. Casket, living room, front room, or big room, or body. It's just casket. It was 4 years old. Okay. There was a piano. That was, and 3 big leather chairs and sofa. I didn't need to know the name of the make of the chairs. The double doors, aka French doors that divided the 2 rooms from another, were always closed during the week and open on Sunday, when we all sprawled over the room with the Sunday paper. And in those days it was a great and grand relief to get a Sunday paper for entertainment and curiosity and, of course, news. All the news, nothing but the news. I was the 6th child born and had been preceded by a deaf sister named Anna Mae, and also followed by another deaf sister named Eileen. We totaled 6 girls and 4 boys. Most of the kids in the nearby farms were used for all of the farm chores, but my father insisted that we girls stay away from the barn and help your mother. The house was big, but we shared bedrooms. On Friday, we cleaned the upstairs, and Saturday, the downstairs. Every Saturday, my mother baked 6 loaves of bread, and we got to sprinkle sugar on pieces of dough, which she baked for us. My grandfather was a man ahead of his time. He was born in Prince Edward Island, and that's another long story. He came to this rich wooded area, a mile and a half from a town called Albertville in the state of Minnesota. And he had a team of oxen shipped to him to his old home farm and began to work, clearing land of oak trees and large stones for the new coming immigrant farmers. Dad said that he kept the best for himself when he built the big red barn that still remains on the property today. They built other sheds and outhouses, and when Grandpa got married to a local schoolgirl teacher from Ireland, my father was one of his 10 children born 1893 in one of those buildings. Grandpa didn't build the house until 1904. The buildings were placed amid the land grant from President Lincoln. We used to have the original grant with the president's signature, but it got lost when we had it framed by the John Wilkes Framing Company. The reason I say Grandpa was way ahead of his time is the fact that when he decided to build our big house, he contacted the priest and asked the architect who built the nuns' convent. He hired him to build our wonderful house. The house where we all grew up is still standing and still full of wonderful family members. Thanks to forward-thinking Grandpa, in 1904 he installed electricity in our house, powered by a machine and huge glass batteries lining one wall in the barn. We also had running water and indoor bathroom when nobody else, not even the city folk, they still needed outhouses, needed to pump water, and had kerosene lamps after dark. We also had running water and an indoor bathroom when nobody else, even city folk, still needed outhouses and needed to pump water and had kerosene lamps after dark. Our house had huge cattle tanks in the attic, which the windmill pumped full of water, which ran down the kitchen to the kitchen and the bathroom. It was no wonder I grew up thinking that we were ultra-wealthy, rich beyond measure. I became sort of a child snob, as 'twere, looked down upon everybody I saw. This ends my first writing. I can see this is going to take a long time. Talk to you next time if you give a rat's flying patootie, and till next time, adios amigos. Well, that was her first writing, and then it continues on. So I will go ahead and see how this releases, and you can take a look at what's coming up, and I'll just continue on with Mother's life story with more images. This was more of a sound test and viewing test. And yes, thank you for joining the Haphazard Productions. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be right back with another. Carry on.